verb agreement.
Hi, this is our lesson today, and as you can see in front of you, we are, me and Mr. Khalid, we are sitting together preparing your lesson. Today's lesson is, of course, about grammar, and we are going to talk about subject-verb agreement. And we thought of taking or tackling this lesson today because most of you had problems with the subject and the verb in a sentence, and that you have to concentrate on using the suitable verb with each subject. Okay, when must the subject and the verb agree? So be careful, we have here the color must. The word must is colored so that you have to know that a subject and a verb must agree. They should agree, okay? Subjects and verb must agree if the subject is singular, then the verb must be singular, okay? So if we have the subject in a sentence singular, then the verb should be also singular. And I think you know what is a subject in a sentence. It is the main person who does the action, okay? And always subject comes at the beginning of the sentence in English. And so what comes after a subject is the verb. And so if you have a subject which is singular, then the verb should be also singular. Let's have a look at these examples. The boy is absent. The subject here is the boy. And what came after it is the verb is. So the boy is the subject. And be careful, the boy is singular. Then the verb is also should be singular. So the boy is absent. So I can't say the boy are absent. This is wrong, because if I have the boy, which is singular, then I have to put is, which is of course verb to be with, in the present simple case, and the boy takes is. It's like he. Another example, the boy has a ball. Again, we changed the verb is, which is verb to be, into another verb which is verb to have. And in this case, because we have the subject, the boy, singular, then we used has in its singular case. So it's verb to have, but of course, because we have he, the boy, then we put has. So the boy has a ball. Another example, when we have the boy plays football. Here I didn't use any of the auxiliary verbs as above, verb to be in this case, verb to have in this case, but I used the main verb, plays. Remember the difference between this verb and the other two verbs above? Here the verb has S at the end, and I think all of you know that because the boy, he, then in the main verb I have to use S because I am talking about the present simple tense. So the boy plays football. I can change the subject into the girl plays football, or I can say Ali plays football, or it can be Mona plays football. So whatever, if I have he or she here as subjects, then the verb should take S. And please notice that S in the verb means singular, okay? But S in the noun, like boy, means plural. I always tell this to my students. Don't confuse. If you have S with the noun, like boy, and then I put S, then it is the plural, means more than one boy. But if I have S in the verb, which comes with the verb plays, then in this case it means singular. So I have plays, then I have to know that the subject should be he or she. in this case, okay? So again, let's have a look from the beginning. If the subject is singular, then the verb must be singular. And we have the example, the boy is absent. I can't say the boy are absent, completely wrong. Again, the boy has a ball. I can't say the boy have a ball, which is wrong. And the boy plays football. I can't say the boy play football, because in this case I have play as plural. So if I have a boy as plural, then the verb should be plural, which is plays or has or is. Okay? Please don't confuse that. If the subject is singular, the verb must be singular also. Let's move to the second case. Subjects and verb must agree. If the subject is plural, then the verb must be plural. Okay? So it's not as the same slide. Remember, in the other slide we said that if the subject is singular and the verb should be singular, but here the subject is plural, then the verb should be plural. Let's look at the example. The boys are absent. Okay, see now, S here, I put S with the noun boys to make sure, or to tell you that I am talking about many boys. Okay, it's not one boy, it's more than one. So that's why when I put the verb to be here, I have to put are. So the boys are absent. The boys have 3 balls. So here again, boys, plural. Then I change the verb into have. And it's different from has in the other slide when they were singular. Okay? So here the boys, plural. Then the verb have should be have, because have comes with the plural subject. The boys play football. See here, S, boys, this is the plural of the subject. Then I have verb play without S. So in this case there is only one S in the sentence, either I put it when I talk about the nouns, boys, okay, or if I put it in the verb when I talk about the singular, it will be plays. But here I have the boys play football. So the S is in the noun, then I'm talking about plural nouns and definitely plural verb, which is play, no S. So again, if the subject is plural, then the verb must be plural. The boys are absent. The boys have 3 balls. The boys play football. So let me sum up quickly. If the subject is singular, then the verb is going to be singular. If the subject is plural, then the verb must be plural. Please don't forget that. Now we are going to look at rules about subject-verb agreement. The first rule is subjects joined by and require a plural verb. And of course here the key word is and if I have more than one subject and they are joined together using the word and, then the verb should be plural, because in this case we are going to talk about 2 things or more than one thing. Then the verb should be plural. Let's maybe when we look at the examples, things will be clearer. Abir is a teacher. Khalid is a teacher. So now in each sentence I have one subject. In the first sentence I have Abir, the subject. This is singular. In the second sentence I have Khalid is a teacher. Again, Khalid is the subject. This is singular. Then the verbs there and here in the first sentence is, because I'm talking about the singular subject. And Khalid is a teacher. Again, is here is singular because I'm talking about singular subject, Khalid. If I put them together, as in this example, in this sentence, if I say Abir and Khalid, then I'm going to talk Abir and Khalid, I put them together. So I changed the one person into two now. So it will be Abir and Khalid. Then look at the verb, should be are teachers. So now I'm not talking about one person as I was doing in the first sentence, but now I'm talking about the two people, Abir and Khalid. So I have to change the verb from is, which is singular, into are. And the key word, as we said here, is the word and. So can you see Abir and Khalid? These are subjects, two subjects joined by the word and so I have to change the verb into the plural are teachers. So again, the word teachers had s at the end because this is plural, because we are talking about two people, Abir and Khalid. Let's look at another example. Abir has a car, Khalid has a car. Again, Abir here is the subject and Khalid is another subject in another sentence. And we have has, of course this is singular verb because I'm talking about singular subject, Abir. Khalid, again I used has because I'm talking about a singular subject, Khalid. But if I add them and write one sentence, like Abir and Khalid have cars. So I changed has into have because I am talking about two people who are Abir and Khalid. So I joined the subjects with and. So I had to change the singular verb has into have. And here have became the plural. And of course cars, this is again the plural noun. Another example, Abir teaches English, Khalid teaches English. The subject here is Abir again, the verb teaches, and be careful that teaches took S, the verb, because again we are talking, this is a main verb, and when we say it's the present simple tense, we use S with the verb in the case of the singular. Here we have, if I remove Abir and put another pronoun, it's going to be she teaches English. So then I have to put S to the verb, and in this case of course it's not S, it's ES because the verb ends in S, in CH. Okay, so I have to put ES. Again, if I look at Khalid teaches English, then it's the same. If I change Khalid and used another pronoun, it would be he. So he teaches English. Then of course again the same thing, when if I have he or she in the sentence, then the verb should take S. Of course in our case here we have to put ES because the verb ends in CH. If I just put or write these two sentences into one sentence, then it will be Abir and Khalid teach English. What is the difference between this verb teach and the other verb up in one of the sentence? So here, if in case of this example, Abir teaches, the verb here teaches with ES, and here the verb teach only. Why? Because I have the two subjects, Abir and Khalid, they are joined by the word and so the verb should be changed into the plural form, okay? And so that's why we removed the ES at the end of the verb, and we had to write it as it is because this is the plural form. If I if I to remove Abir and Khalid and put another pronouns, it's going to be they. So of course they is the plural pronoun, so the verb shouldn't take S. So it should be teach because it is plural verb. Okay, so let's sum up this. So subjects joined by and require a plural verb. So I'm going to read the plural sentences. Abir and Khalid are teachers. Abir and Khalid have cars. Abir and Khalid teach English. So here are, this is the plural form of verb to be, which is an auxiliary verb. Have is the plural form of course, verb to have. And teach is the main verb here in the sentence. And note that it doesn't take S at the end because the subjects are, of course, plural subjects. Let's move on. Another rule we are going to look at is, of course, subjects joined by both and or both of them. They should require a plural verb. So if I have in the sentence both something and or both of them, then the verb should be plural. And don't worry, we are going to look at some of the examples. It will be clear, don't worry. So the example, we have this sentence: Abir is a hard-working teacher. Khalid is a hard-working teacher. So if I join, of course, here in this sentence, I have Abir, which is the singular. The verb is singular. Khalid singular, then the verb is singular. Remember the first rule we talked about? If I have a singular subject, then I should have a singular verb. If I rewrite these two sentences and use both and, then it will be like this: both Abir and Khalid, the verb is going to be are hard-working teachers. Okay, so here both, I put one of the subjects and then I put another subject, and then I changed the verb is in the singular case into are, because again we are talking about plural form of verb to be in the present simple case, are. So when I use both and, the verb should be plural. And in our case here we have both Abir and Khalid are hard-working teachers. I can also use both of them, which means that I can remove the names, okay, and put, of course, of them. So it will be both of them are hard-working teachers. So if I use both and, or if I use both of them, then the verb should be in the plural case, are here. And of course I continue the sentence as you can see. So to sum up, subjects joined by both and or both of them, they require a plural verb. Let's look at another example. Abir has a role in this e-window. Khalid has a role in this e-window. So we have here Abir, the subject, and the verb has, singular. Khalid, and the verb has, also singular. Okay. Then if I use both and, it will be like this. Both Abir and Khalid have roles in this e-window. So if I use both and, then I change the verb from has, singular case, into have, plural form. Also I can use both of them have roles in this e-window. So again, instead of both the subject and another subject, I can say both of them have roles in this e-window. Another example, Abir works enthusiastically. Khalid works enthusiastically. So Abir here is the subject, again singular. Then the verb, the main verb works should also be singular. Then I put S at the end of the word because this is the singular form of the verb in the present simple tense. So both Abir and Khalid work enthusiastically. And here, note the difference between works and work. Remember we said verbs with S means singular because I have here the subject Khalid, singular. And here work without S means plural because I have both and. I'm not talking about Abir alone or Khalid alone. I'm talking about both people, Abir and Khalid. So the verb should be in the plural form without S, work. Also I can say both of them work enthusiastically. So instead of having both and, I can say both of them. And again the same here, the same thing we said, that the verb should be plural, then it will be work. So it will be both of them work enthusiastically. To sum up, then we have if we have subjects joined by both and or both of them, then the verb should be plural. Like, both Abir and Khalid have roles in this e-window. Both of them have roles in this e-window. Both Abir and Khalid work enthusiastically, and both of them work enthusiastically. Note that subjects which are joined by both and or both of them require a plural verb. Let's move on. Another rule is that the verb agrees with the nearest subject when two or more subjects are joined by. So be careful with the key word here is the word nearest. Okay, the nearest subject. Sometimes you can have two subjects in the sentence, so the verb agrees with the nearest one. Okay, which is of course the second one. And we have like subject joined by or, either or. So the verb agrees with the nearest subject, okay, if the subjects are joined by or either or. Okay, so we have Hind speaks English fluently, we speak English fluently. Of course here Hind the singular, then the verb took S because it agrees with it agreed with the singular subject. We is plural, so the verb is plural because it agreed with the plural subject. If we join these two sentences using or, then it's going to be Hind or we speak English fluently. So the verb here agreed because it became plural because the nearest subject is plural. So we speak. Okay. If we change the subjects and we put the singular subject near the verb, in this case we have we or Hind speaks English fluently, then we have the verb became singular because it agreed with the nearest subject, which is singular, speaks. Okay. If we use either or, so it will be either Hind or we speak English fluently. So we have either or, then again we have the nearest subject is we, which is plural, so the verb became plural. And if we have the last case, either we or Hind speaks English fluently, because again the verb agreed with the singular subject, which is nearest to it. So don't forget that verb agrees with the nearest subject if the subjects are joined by or either or. Let's have a look at another case. Again, the verb, as we said, agrees with the nearest subject if these two subjects are joined by nor or neither nor. Okay, let's have a look at the examples. Khalid is not lazy. They are not lazy. Of course, here in the case of Khalid, because Khalid is a singular subject, then verb to be is singular, is. They, plural subject, then the verb are, again, is plural because, as we said, subjects and verbs agree if they are singular or they are plural. If I join these two sentences using neither nor or nor only, then we have neither Khalid nor they are lazy. Of course, let me just look at the pronunciation of this word. You can pronounce it as neither or neither. Both are correct. Because you can find me one time saying neither, another time saying neither, so it's the same. Don't confuse yourselves. So if we have neither Khalid nor they are lazy, okay? Because are is in this case is plural because it agreed with the nearest subject, which is they. Neither they nor Khalid is lazy. So again, Khalid here is the singular subject, and so the verb agreed with the nearest subject, which is singular, so it became is. Another rule we are going to look at is that the verb agrees with the nearest subject if the subjects are joined by not only but also. Abir is doing her homework. We are doing our homework. So if we joined these two sentences using not only and but also, it will be like this. Not only Abir, but also we are doing our homework. Okay? So are here agreed with the nearest subject, which is plural, we. If we have it like that, we can say not only we, but also Abir is doing her homework. So in the first sentence, we have are as plural because it agreed with the nearest subject, plural, we. In the second sentence, is singular because it agreed with the nearest subject, which is Abir, singular. So if we look at, I will just sum up what we have in front of us. So subjects agree with the nearest, the verb agrees with the nearest subject if the subjects are joined by neither nor, okay? And so we have here neither Khalid nor they are lazy, or neither they nor Khalid is lazy. And also if these subjects are joined by not only but also, and of course, also using either or, okay? On. So again, it says here, don't be misled by words between the subject and the verb, because sometimes this happens for some of the students. They just find some words in the middle, and so they can't find the subject, and they can't distinguish the subject from other words, okay? So you have to be careful and look for the subject in the sentence, and don't be misled with other verbs. Sometimes some words come between a subject and its verb, but these words must not affect the agreement between the subject and its verb. Like, the best thing about birthdays is or are the presents. Here, let's have a look at this sentence. Where is the subject? I'll give you just half of a minute to think. Is it the best? Is it birthdays? Is it thing? What? Just half of a minute to think. So, if we leave out about birthdays, because this is some words which come between the subject, which is the best thing, okay, and the verb. Just leave them out, so it will be the best thing is or are the presents. So about birthdays, these are, let's say we call them extra information in a sentence. So now your sentence is going to be the best thing is or are the presents. Of course, the right answer is the best thing is the presents, because the verb is singular and it should agree with the subject, which is thing. Of course, when you chose such an answer, you just removed in your mind the words about birthdays. So really the sentence is going to be the best thing about birthdays is the presents. So don't be misled by using here birthdays as plural and is the verb as singular. Remember, the subject is the best thing, which is singular, and not birthdays. So that's why if we have the best thing, which is singular, then I should use the verb to be in the singular case, which is. So please be careful with these very important items we are talking about, and they are also, I think, sometimes confusing. So don't be misled by words between the subject and the verb. Okay? Sometimes you have, as in this case, you have plural words, birthdays, and you feel that I have to put are. No, the real subject is thing. We are talking about the best thing. This is the subject and not birthdays. Let's move on. Another rule we have is the indefinite pronouns like anyone, everyone, someone, no one, nobody are always singular and therefore require singular verbs. Be careful with this, because I think in your exam you can find such question in the exam, and it can be sometimes confusing. So whenever you find anyone, everyone, someone, no one, nobody, you have to put the singular verb, okay? Because these words are singular. Please note that. Let's have a look at the examples. Everyone has done his homework. So I have here everyone, and the verb has singular. Somebody has left her purse. Someone has called me today. Nobody knows what comes tomorrow. Each student was given an assignment. None has been said about the problem. So, all these words, as you can see, these were all singular words, and so all of them took singular verbs. Of course, here in the first three sentences, you have has as of course singular form of the verb to have, and of course here knows, in this sentence nobody knows, the verb took s because this is singular. And so remember, as we said before, that always a verb with s means singular. Also here in this, the example before last, when we have each student was, and of course here was because each student is singular, and was is the singular form of verb to be in the past simple tense. Okay, so be careful with this because this is very important. Indefinite pronouns like anyone, everyone, someone, no one, or nobody, these words are always singular, and so we have to use singular verbs. Be careful with that. Again, the last sentence we have is nothing is available in our store. So again, we have nothing, and so the verb is, of course, singular. Also, these indefinite words like all, most, some, any, enough can have singular or plural verbs depending on the meaning of the subject. Okay, so of course here it depends on the meaning, and of course whether the word comes with a countable or uncountable noun. So it's according to the word. If the subject is countable, and of course you know what is meant by countable, means nouns that I can count. I can say 1, 2, 3. And uncountable nouns are the nouns which I can't countable, like which I can't count, like of course time, money, rice, water, air, and so on. So if I have here all students have been given homework, be careful, I have the word all, but I have the word which came with it is a countable noun, and it had s at the end because this is plural, so then the verb is plural. Okay, if I have a sentence like that, all the water has been drunk by the students, here I have also the same word all, but what came after it is an uncountable noun, so I had to use the singular verb has. So the difference between the first sentence and the second sentence is that with all, in the first case, students, noun, and of course it is countable, it is plural, then the verb have is in the plural form. But in the second sentence, all again, and then I have the water, and of course the water is an uncountable noun. I can't count the word water, then the verb is singular, so it's of course singular form of has in the present simple tense, has. If I say most of the students know Abir and Khalid now, so here I have also the word most, and then I have what word came after it is the word plural, countable, students, and of course the verb here agreed with this and became plural, so no, because I am talking about plural word, countable, so no should be the plural verb. If I say most of the money was spent on helping the poor, so here I have most of, and then what happened? Money is an uncountable word, and so it should take a singular verb, so it became was. And I think all of you know that was is the singular form of verb to be in the past simple tense. So again, if I have most of the students, here I have countable nouns, then the verb will be plural. Most of the money, I have uncountable noun, then the verb is going to be singular. Don't forget that, okay? Another example, if we have some of the teachers are doing their work enthusiastically. So of course I have here the word some, but what came with some is of course teachers, and teachers is plural, countable word, then the verb should be plural, are. Some of the oil is used daily. Again, what came with the word some? Here is the word oil. And of course, oil is an uncountable word. So the verb should be singular. Any friend of yours is a friend of mine. So here we have of course, we have any. And friend is a singular countable word. Then I had the verb is in the singular case. If I have any friends of yours are friends of mine, then here, because I have the word friends after any, and this is plural countable word, then of course I change the verb into the plural, which is are. If I use the word enough, so let's say enough has been said about money. Of course, here enough takes as, singular verb. If I have here enough people have been hurt, what came after enough is, of course, a plural, and it is a countable word, people, then the verb should be plural, have. Okay, let's have a look at some other rules. Some subjects that refer to group of people, like team, family, jury, crowd, committee, and so on, can take either singular or plural verbs. It depends whether we are talking about the subject as whole or as individuals. So let's have a look at them. Of course, the subjects that refer to group of people means some people together, like team. If we have football team, we have if we are talking about football, then there are 11 players, but we consider them as one team. Family, we have lots of members in the family, but again, they are one family, okay? So they are a whole. If in the case of the family, I talk about a mother or a father, then it will be individual person. So, if I say the team has arrived, then here in this case I'm talking about the team as a whole, then the verb is going to be singular. Okay? But I can say the team have arrived if I am talking about the team as individuals, means the players. So I can say have arrived. So in the first example, if my meaning, or if I'm talking about the subject as a whole, then I will use it as singular verb. And if I'm talking about the subject as individuals, then I will use the verb as plural. Some other examples, like our family is very kind and helpful. So again, I'm talking about the family as whole. Then I used the singular verb is. But if I say our family members are very friendly, I'm here talking about the members of the family, which is plural. Then I'm using the verb are as plural. Okay. The jury has not reached a verdict yet. Here, of course, I think you know the meaning of the word jury. And jury are the people who works in the court, and of course they are helping the judge in producing the judgment. And of course you have jury in Western countries. Okay, verdict can mean the judgment. Okay, so the jury has not reached a verdict yet. Here jury as group of people as a whole, then the verb has, of course, is singular. If I say the jury members are sitting in the jury room now, then I'm talking about the jury as individuals, members, okay, plural, different people. Then the verb is plural, are. Our class doesn't have so many students this year. Here our class means the group of students which are, let's say, sitting in one class. We call them class, let's say grade 12 students. So here, if we talk about the class as whole, then the verb will be singular, doesn't. If I say our class members are going on trip next week, then here I'm talking about the class as individuals. Can be in a class we have, let's say, 15 students, then the verb is going to be plural. Again, some words like school subjects, sports, diseases, news, these words, as you can see at the end, have S. Okay, these words look like plurals, but really they require singular verbs. Okay, so this S is a part of the word itself, so it has nothing to do with the plural of the word. Okay, we can't remove the S without the word. Like physics is my weakest subject. Here the word physics, the S here is part of the word. I can't remove S and say that physics is a plural word. It's not a plural word. This is part of the word. The name of this subject is physics. So I have to put is. Okay? Mathematics is my strongest subject. Again, mathematics, this S is part of the word. We can't omit it, we can't remove it. So of course it is a singular word, okay, and it needs a singular verb. I can't say mathematic and I can't say physic. This is completely wrong. It's mathematics and physics. The news is not good. Again, the word news here, I can't remove the S, and so it needs a singular verb. Again, we can't omit the S in the word news, okay? So that's why we need singular verb is. Measles is a dangerous illness for people, and again, measles is a kind of disease which affects some of the children and also elder people. Again, we can't remove S of measles, so that's why we have to put a verb in the singular form is. The last example, mumps is a very dangerous disease. Again, mumps is another disease, okay, and it should also take is as verb in the singular case, okay. So as you can see, all these words end in S, but this S is not part of the word itself. It is a part of the word itself, and it's not a plural. So it needs singular verbs. Please remember that. Also, we have amounts as subjects take a singular verb. Like 200 bottles of Pepsi is, okay? The amount here is, of course, 200, okay? And then we have 200 bottles, and then, of course, of Pepsi, then the verb is going to be is, which is singular. $100 isn't too much to buy a mobile. Of course, again here, the amount here is $100. Okay, $100. So it should take singular verb. 300 dirhams is not enough to buy a house. Again, the amount here is 300 dirhams. Then I have to put is. So amounts, okay, when I use amounts as subjects, then they should take singular verbs. And in this case, amounts, we have 200 bottles, $100, 300 dirhams. Also, when we look at these words, there is or there has, there are, or there have, the verb depends on what follows. So let's have a look after at this case and see some of the examples. There are more things for heaven and earth. So here we have there. Why did I put are? Because the verb depends on what comes after it, what followed it, things. So of course that's why I'm putting are as plural, because what came after it is the word things, which is plural. So that's why I had to use there are. There is a tavern in the town. Again here, why did I put is as singular? Because what came after it is tavern, and this is singular word. That's why I had to put is. There has been a lot of sugar in the cup. Again, why did I put has here? Because it depends on what came after it, which is sugar. And I think by now you know that sugar is an uncountable word, and so it should take a singular verb. There have been a lot of students in the class. Why did I use have? Because again it followed, depended on the word which came after it, and in this case we have students, which is plural. So if we look at this here, we have the first example, we have are, plural, and it depended on the word which came after it, in this case things, plural, is singular because I have tavern, which is a singular word, has, it depended on the word which came after it, which is sugar, and have depended on the word which came after it, which is students. So if I have there is, or there has, there are, or there have, then the verb would depend on the word that comes after it, or what follows it. That's it. So after we finished all the rules, let's try the following exercise. Correct the mistakes in these sentences. So of course, as you know from the rubrics, it means that we have a mistake and we are to correct this mistake. And of course the mistake is underlined in this case, okay? It's in another color and it is underlined. Number 1, elephants are large animals. So what would be the answer? Excellent. Elephants are large animals, and what happened is that I corrected is into are, because of course, as we said in our first rule, that verbs always agrees with the subject. If the subject is plural, then the verb should be plural. So we have elephants are. Let's look at number 2. Your heart beats faster when you run. So your heart beats faster when you run. I'll give you just half of a minute to please correct these mistakes. First, before you correct, you have to look at the subject. So in this case, the subject is heart. Is it singular or plural? Of course, heart here is singular. So the verb should be what? Singular. Yes. So it should be your heart beats faster when you run. So here, remember when we said that if the verb got s, it means that it is singular. So your heart, this is the singular subject, and so of course we had the verb should be beats, which is a singular verb here. Number 3, my mother wears glasses. Again, please try to correct this mistake and remember to look at the subject, is it singular or plural? Look at the verb, is it singular or plural? And then don't forget that subject and verb should agree. So it will be, my mother wears glasses. Again, my mother, singular subject, and so the verb should be singular, and in this case, of course, has s at the end. So my mother wears glasses, because the subject and verb should agree if they are singular, okay? And remember we said if the verb takes s, then it is singular verb. Okay, the same kind of exercise, correct the mistake in these sentences. We have every child in the class know the exercise. Every child in the class know the exercise. Take care, we have here the word every. Okay, so, and here also here we have child. So I'm going to give you half of a minute to correct this. So the answer is going to be every child in the class knows the exercise. Of course, remember when we talked about the word every, and we said that this word is always singular, and then the verb should be singular, so it will be every child in the class knows the exercise. Number 2, a number of the students in my class are from Mexico. A number, okay. Even though we have here students, which is plural. So we have a number of the students in my class are from Mexico. Be careful, this is an amount. I'm just helping you to answer this on your own. So, a number of the students in my class is from Mexico. And be careful, we have here a, and so that's why I have to put singular is, even though I have here a plural word, which is students. One of my favorite subjects in school are algebra. So, you have here one. R. Of course, R is mistaken, okay? This is the mistake you have to correct. Yeah, I think I heard the answer. It should be one of my favorite subjects in school is algebra, okay? Even though I have the word subjects as plural, the verb should always agree with, of course, as you know, one here. Because, of course, one here is the subject and not subjects. Healthy hearts needs regular exercise. Of course, look at the subject, look at the verb. As we said before, we can never have two s, okay? In this case, hearts plural and needs singular, okay? We can't have them both in one sentence. So we should do something here. What is it? Yes. Very good. So what happened? What you did is that you removed the S of the verb because the subject hearts is plural. So what happened is that I had to make my verb agree with the subject, and both of them now are plural. So I removed the S in the verb needs, and so the sentence will be healthy hearts need regular exercise. So another type of exercise is choose the suitable answer. Number 1, the weather is or are cold. Weather, of course, weather is subject. So which one do you think? Is or are cold? Yeah, I heard the answer. Excellent. Is. Because of course the weather, singular subject, and of course it should take a singular verb, is. Number 2, vegetables is or are good for you. Look at the subject and choose. Can we say vegetables is? Does that make sense to you? Yes, we can't say it, of course. I heard you. So because we have the subject vegetables, which is plural, then it should take a plural verb, which is, of course, are. So vegetables are good for you. Number 3, a dog, is it barks or bark? A dog. Of course, since you have a and you have dog without s, then we are talking about singular subject. So the verb should be which one? You tell me. No, it can't be bark because, as we said before, if the verb has no s, then it means it is plural. Remember at the beginning of our lesson when we said that verb with s means singular? Again, here dog is a singular subject. So my verb should be barks. Excellent. Okay, number 4, Anne and Sue is or are at home. Be careful, you have Anne and Sue. So it's not Anne alone and it's not Sue alone. We have and here, okay? Very good. Are. Excellent. Number 5. Every boy and girl is or are here. Every boy and girl is or are here. Remember, we have the word every in the sentence. So, what will be the answer? Do we consider here boy and girl as singular or plural? And what about the word every? Think of the word every and answer. Yes. So the answer is so of course every boy and girl is here. Number 6. A boy and a girl is or are in the street. So this sentence is different from the other sentence, okay? A boy and a girl. You have and here. Is it singular? Is it only the boy? Is it only the girl? No, it's a boy and a girl. So we have here the plural and not singular, okay? I'm helping you. So, yeah, so excellent. The answer is going to be are in the street. Number 7. The furniture in this room is or are comfortable. And I think you know the meaning of the word furniture. The word furniture is, of course, whatever you have in your house. It's like something where you sit on or sleep on, or like sofa, chair, bed, cupboard, and so on. So the furniture in this room is or are comfortable. The word furniture is always singular, by the way, okay? So if I tell you now the word furniture is singular, then which verb? Excellent, thank you. Is. So the furniture in this room is. Again, if I look at in this room, this is extra information. My sentence can be the furniture is comfortable. Remember when we said that sometimes you have some extra words between the subject and the verb. In this case, we have in this room. Number 8, the chairs in that room is or are comfortable. Of course, in sentence number 7, the word furniture, okay, singular, chairs, part of the furniture, okay? So, yeah, yes, yes, very good, because chairs, plural, and of course the plural subject should agree with the plural verb. So the chairs in that room are comfortable. Again, in that room, this is extra information. I can just remove this information and the subject will be the chairs and the verb are and then comfortable. So don't confuse if you have some words between the subject and the verb. Again, you are to choose there is or are a cup on the table. Remember when we said, when we were talking about the rule, there, and of course there is or there are, and the verb should agree or depend on the word which comes after it. So, you have to look at the word which comes after the verb. Here we have a cup. Is it singular or plural? Of course, a cup, yes, this is singular, so I have to choose singular verb. So it will be there is a cup on the table. Okay, and then sentence number 2, there is or are some cups on the table. Here, the word which came after the verb, some cups. Is it singular? No, it is plural. So that's why I have to choose which verb? Yes, there are some cups on the table. Okay, number 3. Why isn't or aren't there any windows in the classroom? So again, my choice is going to depend on the word which comes after the verb. In this case, the word is, of course, windows. Here, windows is the subject of my question. So you tell me which word you are going to choose. Is it isn't? Look at the word windows. Is it singular or plural? Windows got S at the end, okay? And be careful that if we said a noun with S, then it means a plural word. Then it will take the word aren't. So it will be, why aren't there any windows in the classroom? Number 4. A number of students has or have participated in intensive language programs abroad. A number of students, okay, amount again, has or have participated in intensive language programs abroad. You tell me the correct answer. Excellent. Has. I don't look at the word students, which is plural. The word a number, this is what I look at, okay? And this is what the subject, this is what the verb should agree with. Number 5, every one of the boys and girls in the school know or knows what to do if the fire alarm rings. Everyone. My key word here is everyone. Of course, if I have boys, girls, if they are plural, I don't mind them. I don't care about these plural nouns, okay? What I care for is, of course, everyone. So, we said, remember during our lesson, we said that the word everyone always singular. So, it's going to be, which verb? Yes, knows. Knows is the singular verb here. Again, in the school, this is extra information which is added between the subject and the verb. I don't care about that also. Number 6, why is or are the police standing over there? Again, let's have a look at the subject, and my subject here is police. Okay, is police singular or plural? Remember when we said, when we talk about nouns which got lots of people, like team and so on. So here police is the same. If I'm talking about police as a whole or as, of course, individual. So in this sentence, in this question, police here, I use it as a whole. So of course, if it is a whole, then the verb is going to be singular, okay? If it is as individuals, then the verb is going to be plural. So in this case, please, of course this is a whole, then it's going to be singular verb is. So it will be, why is the police standing over there? Number 7, what places in the word has or have no snakes? What places in the word has or have no snake? Yeah. So the subject here is what? Places. It's plural. So the verb is going to be what? Is it has? Can I say what places in the word has no snakes? Do you think this is correct? Does it make sense? No, it doesn't. Yes, I heard you. So of course places is plural, then I have to put the verb into the plural case, which is have. So it will be, what places in the word have no snakes? Again, in the word, this is extra information. The last sentence we have, English is or are a common language. English, this is the subject of the sentence. And of course, you know the answer. Thank you, I heard you. English is a common language. Subjects, as we said before, always I deal with them as singular nouns. And of course, English is one of the subjects. So it will be English is a common language. Of course, by this we come to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. And please remember the rules we talked about concerning subject-verb agreement. I know that they are a bit confusing. That's why we chose to do this lesson, to make things clear. Thank you. By this, we come to the end of our lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and lots of things were sorted out. Thank you.